Okay, so, you know how tech loves to throw around buzzwords, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, today's deep dive is all about one that's actually becoming super important. A DevSecOps consultant.
Right, that's the one.
I know that might sound kind of jargony,
Mm-hmm.
but stick with us, because this role is crucial in making sure that all the software we use every day is actually safe and secure.
Yeah, it's really about building software fast, but without, opening the floodgates for hackers and cyber attacks.
Exactly, and for this deep dive, we've got some awesome insights from a true DevSecOps guru, Ayub Shaikh.
Yeah, you know him?
He's a trainer at Holistica Consulting with 24 years of experience.
Wow, 24 years. That's impressive.
So yeah, he definitely knows what he's talking about. And one of the things he breaks down really well is what a DevSecOps consultant actually does, on a day-to-day basis.
Right, because it's one thing to have the title, but what are they actually doing?
Exactly. So let's start with the core responsibilities.
Okay, so Ayub mentions this thing about integrating security into CI/CD pipelines.
Okay, that sounds pretty technical.
Yeah, it is a bit, but it's actually a really important concept.
Could you maybe break it down for me and the listeners?
Sure. So think of a CI/CD pipeline like an assembly line for code. Okay.
Yeah, I'm picturing that.
So developers, they write code, and then it goes through this pipeline to get tested, packaged, and then finally released out into the world.
Right.
And what a DevSecOps consultant does is they make sure that security checks are built into every single stage of that assembly line.
So it's not just checking for problems at the very end.
No. It's about catching those issues early on.
Makes sense. So if there's a security flaw, you want to find it before it's out in the wild.
Exactly. It's much easier and cheaper to fix problems during development rather than after the software has already been released.
Right, like trying to find a tiny loose screw in a car after it's already been built and shipped.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
So they're kind of like quality control experts for security.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So how do they actually go about doing this? What kind of tools do they use?
Well, Ayub mentions a bunch of different tools, and each one has its own sort of specialty.
Oh, interesting. Like what kind of tools?
Well, there's SNCC, for example.
SNCC, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's a really popular one. It scans code for known vulnerabilities.
So kind of like a spell checker, but for security flaws?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what else?
There's also OWASP ZIP, which is specifically designed to test web applications for weaknesses.
So it's like they have this whole arsenal of security gadgets.
Exactly. And knowing which tool to use and how to use it effectively is a key part of their job.
Okay, so let's say a DevSecOps consultant is using SNCC, and they scan a piece of code, and it flags a critical vulnerability.
Right. And that vulnerability could potentially allow attackers to steal sensitive user data.
Oh, wow, that sounds serious.
It is, but because they caught it early, the developers can fix it before the code ever goes live.
Oh, wow, so they potentially prevented a major data breach.
Exactly. That's the power of DevSecOps.
That's awesome. All right, so we've talked about tools, but Ayub also mentioned the importance of certain skills. And it's not just about technical expertise, right?
Right. You can be the best coder in the world, but if you can't communicate effectively, you're not going to be a very good DevSecOps consultant.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ayub specifically highlights communication and collaboration as key skills.
And why are those so important?
Well, because DevSecOps consultants, they act as a bridge between the developers who want to, ship features quickly.
Right, you gotta hit those deadlines.
And the security pros who want to make sure everything is locked down tight.
Yeah, gotta keep those systems safe.
Exactly. So they need to be able to explain complex security concepts to the developers in a way that's clear and actionable.
And then on the flip side, they need to advocate for security best practices within the development process.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance between speed and security.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and imagine we're a technical recruiter trying to find the perfect DevSecOps consultant.
Okay.
What kind of questions should we be asking to really, see if someone's got what it takes?
Well, Ayub has some great interview questions in his guide.
Oh, perfect. Like what?
A classic one is, how would you approach integrating security into a CI/CD pipeline?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It's pretty broad, though.
It is, and that's intentional because it gives the candidate a chance to show their understanding of the whole process.
So what would a really good answer sound like?
Well, a strong candidate wouldn't just list off a bunch of tools.
Right.
They'd talk about specific practices they'd implement at each stage of the pipeline,
Okay.
like automated security testing, vulnerability scanning, and even how they'd handle security incident response.
So it's really about showing they can walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Exactly. They need to demonstrate that they have hands-on experience and a deep understanding of the whole DevSecOps philosophy.
And that ties back to Ayub's golden nugget of advice.
Yeah. Look for candidates with hands-on experience in security automation and a deep understanding of balancing security and delivery speed.
It's like that old saying, fast, cheap, or secure, pick two.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But DevSecOps consultants, they're trying to achieve all three.
Yeah. They're the superheroes of the software world.
So to wrap things up for our listeners, what's the key takeaway here?
Well, if you're thinking about a career in tech, DevSecOps is a field with huge potential.
Yeah, it's challenging, it's constantly evolving.
And it has a direct impact on keeping our digital world safe.
Absolutely. And for all you technical recruiters out there,
Yes.
remember Ayub's advice. Look for those candidates who can not only use the tools, but also bridge the gap between security and speed.
That's the magic combination.
And with that, we'll leave you to ponder the fascinating world of DevSecOps.
It is fascinating.
Who knows, maybe you'll be building those secure CI/CD pipelines someday.
Maybe so.
Until next time, stay curious.
And stay secure.
Bye for now.
See you.